captured a UAP on camera.
We've got to do a lot more detailed experimentation.
We're getting a spike in radiation.
Everybody out of here now!
Someone or something doesn't want us to collect data from the triangle.
At 56, Travis S. Taylor has finally broken his silence, confirming what many feared about Skinwalker Ranch. He described bizarre events from GPS devices failing the moment you enter the land to strange lights and strange portals that seem to appear from nowhere.
GPS signals over the ranch, and sometimes it stops at the fence line on the ranch, not just in the region, get jammed.
Taylor also mentioned animals being injured without explanation and strange forces making people sick during their investigations. Could there be more to this place than we ever imagined? Join us as Taylor uncovers the unsettling truth behind Skinwalker Ranch that the government doesn't want you to know about. The ranch that terrifies its owners. Let's take a step back to understand what he found by first looking at the ranch's strange background. For more than 2 centuries, the 512-acre ranch has been known for weird and unexplained things happening. People living nearby have often seen strange lights in the sky, and animals hurt in ways no one can explain. They think that ancient gods placed a curse on this land as a punishment long ago. Since then, the ranch has become famous for these unexplained events, affecting everyone who has tried to figure out what's going on. Before we delve into this, what Travis Taylor uncovered is far more unsettling than anyone could have imagined, and it's not the only revelation that will leave you stunned. Back in the late 90s, a man named Terry Sherman owned the ranch. He only kept it for 18 months because of all the strange things happening around him. He ended up selling it to Robert Bigelow, a businessman who was really into UFOs, after facing a bunch of unexplainable and frightening events. Bigelow tried to get to the bottom of these happenings but couldn't find anything solid. He might not have had the right tools for the job. He eventually sold the ranch to Brandon Fugel, a big name in real estate, in 2016. 3 years later, in 2019, Fugel let the History Channel come in to dig deeper into what makes the land so peculiar. This is when Dr. Travis Taylor came into the picture. He's got a lot of titles: astrophysicist, data scientist, and science fiction writer. He was asked to spend several months at the ranch to investigate the continuous reports of weird events. He and his team brought along the latest technology to see if they could find logical reasons for what was happening, or if it might actually be something out of this world. When Taylor and his team got to the ranch, they immediately noticed something was off with all their electronic gear. Their GPS devices would go haywire the moment they stepped onto the ranch, telling them they were places they weren't. This only happened on the ranch grounds. The devices worked fine just outside its borders.
And that is a dangerous thing. If someone has a technology that can do that, they could pick a region and make GPS quit functioning.
These glitches made them wonder about possible dangers to planes and other vehicles, because such disorientation could lead to serious accidents. Taylor thought about whether natural forces like magnetic fields or someone intentionally messing with signals could be behind these problems. They were there to find out what was really happening, and the tech failures seemed like someone or something didn't want them to see the truth. The team's expensive gear, costing over $50,000, often broke down in certain areas of the ranch because of these GPS issues. This convinced them even more that they needed better and stronger tools to explore further. In one of his talks, Taylor said, "I can tell you this, George. What really worries me is that these GPS issues cover the whole ranch, but sometimes they start right at the fence, get blocked, and throw everything off. This could, lead to plane crashes. We've had a lot of trouble with our drones crashing because of it, and these drones aren't cheap. We're talking about $50,000 each." Despite the damage to their equipment from the GPS disruptions, Taylor and his team felt they were on the right track. They were determined to keep pushing for answers. But it wasn't just the GPS that was acting up. While investigating, Taylor and his team came across what seemed to be an invisible barrier covering the ranch. As they checked the area, they detected what seemed like an invisible electromagnetic field. Wanting to get to the bottom of this, Taylor teamed up with some of his colleagues and a guy named Aaron Blunt from Straight Shot Oilfield Services. They decided to dig into the ground to see if this barrier went deep. Just when they thought they were close to answers, the ground showed them something they didn't expect. Digging deeper into the unknown below, Equipped with new drilling machines and fueled by a strong will, they started their excavation, hoping to uncover whatever was hidden underneath. However, as they dug deeper, they hit what felt like an invisible wall stopping them, and things got even weirder the deeper they drilled. Attached to the drill was a beacon that sent signals at 33 megahertz to their advanced monitoring equipment. Normally, this beacon helped them understand what was happening below, but as they continued, the signals from the beacon started acting strangely, suggesting there were more surprises waiting for them under the ground. Down below the surface, it seemed like something was interfering with the drill's work. This wasn't just a small hiccup in their drilling plan. It turned into the most intriguing part of their day. As they pushed the drill deeper into the earth, it started to move in odd ways and face strong resistance, as if something invisible was pushing it away. The team kept an eye on the beacon signals and noticed that each time the drill tried to push forward, something below seemed to react. Whenever the drill touched this unseen force, the monitors connected to their equipment showed wild readings. It looked as if there was a real-time battle happening between the drill and this unknown force. Seeing this, Blunt decided to push even harder, increasing the power behind the drill, which only made the signal responses grow stronger. It was like they were communicating through this confusing pattern of interaction. No matter how much effort they put in, they couldn't get past the strange barrier they encountered. This barrier was so tough that even with over 8,000 pounds of pressure, they couldn't break through it. Despite all their attempts, it was as if they were trying to drill through an impenetrable wall. Surprisingly, when they pulled the drill out, it didn't have a single scratch or any sign of damage, as if it had been drilling through something perfectly smooth and invisible. This confused everyone, leaving them wondering what could possibly stand against such force and not leave a mark on the drill. They were dealing with something unusual that messed with their equipment, yet left the drill completely untouched. This raised a lot of questions about what was really happening down there. In an attempt to understand more, the team collected some of the soil from the drill bit to analyze it, hoping to find some clues that could explain the strange behavior of the drill. Even though they didn't succeed in drilling past the resistance, the team viewed it as a partial success because they had reached their target depth of 31 feet, right where they encountered this resistance. But this wasn't the only strange resistance they came across. Another bizarre event occurred in a specific area of the ranch known as the Triangle area. Here they ran into another force that was far from passive. It actually seemed to have active, startling capabilities. Taylor reported that this force disrupted electronic readings and even pushed back objects with a force that was hard to explain. Keen to figure out more, Taylor and his team equipped themselves with high-tech rockets that had sensors, electromagnetic field detectors, and thermal cameras. They brought along 8 thermal cameras, with 2 that were particularly sensitive. These high-tech tools were designed to pick up the smallest changes, like tiny shifts in temperature, which would be clearly visible compared to the regular thermal cameras. The team was hopeful that if this strange force emitted any heat, their equipment would detect and record it. They devised a plan to test this force by sending objects up more than 100 feet from the Triangle area to see how it reacted. David Mason, Eric, and the rest of the crew kept a close watch on the data from the 8 thermal cameras. These cameras were capable of detecting quick temperature changes that would normally go unnoticed by the human eye. The initial strategy was to start their tests in the south field and launch objects toward the Triangle area. Depending on the outcomes observed at the Triangle, they were prepared to adapt their strategy as needed. They figured that a combination of a launcher and mortar would be most effective for their experiments. One team member would position themselves on one side and begin launching, while another would handle the mortar from the opposite side of the Triangle area. They coordinated their efforts so that a sweep of 1.6 gigahertz started simultaneously with the launches, aiming to reach 31 feet in the air. After learning more about the land, they realized the sky held even bigger challenges waiting for them. Unexplained events in the air and ground. As they launched the mortar and rocket, it seemed like the rocket was passing through the mortar before it unexpectedly exploded. At first, it looked like the rocket had just passed through, but then they realized that the mortar had detonated too soon, causing the rocket to disintegrate right after both reached 31 feet above the Triangle area. It appeared as though they were trying to create some sort of visual effect in the air. Driven by curiosity about why the rockets consistently exploded at the 31-foot mark, they decided to launch several mortars directly toward this specific height. They wanted to see if they could hit something or perhaps make something visible that David's thermal cameras could capture, as they were struggling to determine the origin of this strange occurrence. After this series of tests, they moved up to the launching tower to prepare for another launch and noticed something unusual on the horizon. They used one of their specialized thermal cameras, which displayed temperature differences in colors, to investigate further. This camera showed hotter spots in bright yellow or even white, revealing a notably hotter area than its surroundings in the thermal image. This unexpected discovery in the thermal image suggested they might have finally found something significant. It seemed that this strange, hotter spot might turn up in their thermal images, providing them with more clues to pursue. This gave the team a new lead to explore as they continued their efforts to uncover what lay hidden beneath the strange surface of the ranch. The research team's curiosity spiked when they wondered if firing more mortars in a specific area would make another strange object appear in the sky, right between a known triangle area and the southern field. With no other options, they all agreed that the best move was to get closer to the area where this had happened and fire off some more rounds. They were eager to see this unusual air blob again and try to figure out what it was. Led by a faint glow, they moved toward the southern edge of the woods looking for clues. Their excitement grew when one of them noticed something unusual captured on their camera. This confirmed they were on the right path. Continuing their search, they found exactly what the camera had shown: a bright object floating in the air. Using their special thermal cameras, they spotted an odd glow in the same area, visible in the near-infrared spectrum. This part of their exploration really grabbed their attention because no matter how hard they looked, they couldn't find where the light was coming from. To get a better look, they decided to fire a rocket into the sky. At first, all they saw was the trail left by the rocket, and they couldn't see any light inside it. They waited with bated breath, and suddenly the light appeared, shocking everyone. But then it disappeared just as quickly. It seemed to vanish into thin air, leaving no trace. Their sharp observation skills were impressive, yet they were baffled because the rocket just disappeared from their sight. This made them think it was wise to return to their original spot and review what they had recorded. Could this disappearing act be a hint of a gateway to another dimension that swallowed up the rocket? The ranch, known as Skinwalker Ranch, also had a reputation for messing with electronic gadgets. Measurements like electromagnetic and radio frequencies, even radiation, often showed unexpected, extreme spikes outside the normal range. A man named Sherman had reported these odd events in the past. Yet even after the National Institute for Discovery Science, NIDS, took over and started a scientific study of the ranch, the issues persisted. Electronic devices would often malfunction. Some were even found torn apart inside. This interference affected Taylor and his team too. As they carried out their investigations, their equipment would often suddenly stop working, or they would find batteries that had been full just moments before completely drained. Their cell phones also acted up, with some unknown force turning them on, flipping through apps incredibly fast, or messing up the screen display. What they found above was strange, but what started happening to their bodies was even worse. Dangerous energy found on Skinwalker Ridge. The weirdness didn't stop there. Unusual radiation spikes also hit both Travis and the ranch superintendent, Thomas Winterton. Taylor was checking a cistern in one of the most active areas of the ranch when he suddenly felt dizzy. Soon after, he noticed lesions on his hands and face. A doctor later confirmed these were radiation burns. Winterton had an even worse experience, suddenly feeling intense pain at the back of his skull, severe enough to send him to the hospital. The doctors were confused to find that his scalp was detaching from his skull in one area, a condition usually seen only in extreme cases of radiation exposure and still exceedingly rare. Despite these dangerous incidents, there were more surprises to come. When Taylor first visited the ranch, he was particularly interested in the northern boundary, known as Skinwalker Ridge. This area had seen a lot of recorded activity, including some odd lights and different types of energy emissions. In an interview, Taylor mentioned he spent every day on the ridge, exploring or just being up there. His frequent visits paid off, as he and his team discovered many unexplained phenomena. They captured images of strange lights and unidentified flying objects that behaved in ways that science couldn't easily explain. Some lights just hung in the air, not moving, while others zipped away at speeds that defied the laws of physics. Additionally, they encountered significant electromagnetic disturbances recorded at Skinwalker Ridge. These included sudden spikes in radiation levels and strange magnetic fields that they couldn't link to any known source. It seemed there were events happening on the ranch that even their sophisticated equipment couldn't detect. As if these were not enough, they found something else unusual in this area. Using ground-penetrating radar and other geological surveys, they uncovered strange underground formations at Skinwalker Ridge. These included large voids and structures that didn't match the normal geological patterns of the area. Oddly, these formations seemed to have appeared suddenly, as if out of nowhere, in a very short time. The combination of all these findings made the ranch a place of constant wonder and concern. The team's experiences at Skinwalker Ranch went beyond simple scientific observations, challenging their understanding of what was possible. Each new discovery led to more questions than answers, and the more they explored, the more they realized how much remained unknown. While the physical phenomena were baffling, the impact on their equipment and their health was also deeply concerning. The ranch seemed to have a unique ability to affect both machines and humans in profound and often harmful ways. This raised concerns about the safety of continuing their studies there, but the pull of discovering something potentially groundbreaking kept them coming back. In all, the explorations at Skinwalker Ranch had shown them that the world still holds many phenomena that defy easy explanation. Whether it was floating lights that appeared and disappeared, rockets that vanished into thin air, or radiation that caused immediate health issues, the ranch continued to be a source of fascination and fear. Each visit brought new challenges and questions, pushing the boundaries of what they thought they knew about the natural world. As they prepared for further investigations, the team remained cautious but driven, eager to uncover the true nature of the ranch's many unexplained events. Taylor's findings at the ridge left him astonished, a sentiment he shared repeatedly throughout the series. He emphasized that the evidence they gathered was not only surprising, but could be scientifically verified. "You'll watch the show and see the evidence we've collected," Taylor explained. "It's going to blow you away, because it blew me away. To this day, I'm still in awe and can hardly believe what I witnessed." Skinwalker Ranch is notorious for its range of peculiar happenings, from UFO sightings to eerie lights dancing in the sky. These incidents naturally lead one to question the ranch's safety. Beyond these strange occurrences, there have been reports of cattle mutilations, physical harm to staff, and malfunctioning electronic devices. These events underscore the potential dangers of the ranch, raising alarms about the safety of anyone venturing there without proper knowledge or precautions. Is Skinwalker Ranch just a hotspot for myths, or is something truly dangerous being kept from the public? Share your thoughts and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.